better rolling dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't wrong.
Happy New Year, Matt.
Happy New Year, Rob.
And Happy New Year to you, listeners. This is Dungeon Master of None, and it's 2026.
And we thought start things off with a bang.
And a whimper.
Just reviewed 2025, patreon.com/dungeonmasternone, with your letters and questions, your hopes for the future.
Thank you, as always, for writing in, for sharing your thoughts, hopes, and dreams with us. We will answer them this in the year 2026, which Fritz Lang imagined Metropolis taking place in.
Did
we
he
don't
really?
have... Yes, this is the year of Metropolis, Matt,
Oh.
2026.
Cool. Is that good?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's sort of like one of those things where we both have some of the stuff that he imagined, but the bad stuff, and like not the cool stuff. Like most
Sexy robots?
we don't
Lady
Matt,
C-3PO?
Matt, we don't have Lady C-3POs. We do have worker exploitation and the highway culture, and we don't have cool causeways that go across Manhattan. But yeah, no sexy lady C-3POs. Oh, sorry. This is weird too
Yeah.
to me because we've seen a lot of like robots. Like they're all fake
Sure.
robots, but they're all like they all look like the robot from iRobot. You remember this movie where they're just like like a
They're like
plastic white
plastic.
ceramic like looking guys, sort of androgynous. And I'm like, if you want to sell people on robots, why are you not giving us sexy lady robots?
I'm sure they're working on them, Rob, but
just-
I don't want either of those. Like,
Well, no, I think
this
they're
is
terrible.
a controversial take, Rob, but I think C-3PO is like kind of annoying. You know who's cute? R2-D2. Like, give me a
R2-D2.
robot
I
that's
agree,
like
I
a
agree.
cute little trash can guy.
I would like. This is what I keep saying, man. I don't want a humanoid robot. I want a little guy that rolls around. Maybe one that scuttles. I wouldn't hate
Yeah.
a scuttling one. I just give me a little guy. I don't need another human-sized thing in my home. Not to do tasks. How about a little guy? Let's see an R2-D2 robot could do my dishes. He could just be the dishwasher. He could just roll around and I could give him the dishes. Whereas trying to get a humanoid robot to do the dishes is a disaster. They have to be able to balance and use their hands. Anyway.
Humans are really bad at folding laundry, doing the dishes, and so are robots. And speaking of that, nothing to do with your letters. But here's our
Back
first
to the
one.
letters.
Steve writes, and he thanks us for the show and says that even though he's never run 5e, your 5e centric episodes have still been entertaining and informative.
This is what we hope.
Good. My question is about how you would go about tying gods, demigods, and other magical patrons into a campaign. For my next campaign, I'll be taking inspiration from Mazalan and Pillars of Eternity, especially Deadfire, and have gods who are more active and immediately present in the world and the story. I think the fancy theological word is imminent.
That
How
is
would
a
you-
fancy theological word. That's good. I like that. Imminent. Imminentize the gods of...
How would you go about getting player buy-in to a fictional god or gods, and how do I set a limit for what gods can do and why they need to keep pestering the players for favors? My immediate thought is to rip off Malazan, Book of the Fallen, Malazan, even further with its warrens and associated ascendants, so that any magic user will have some sort of relationship with the deity, even if it doesn't reach the level of worship. But I worry that this means dumping even more magical lore onto my players before the campaign even gets going. Thanks in advance, Steve.
Good question, Steve. I don't think that you need to do a ton of like lore dumping or world building to make this work. I think you can just demonstrate that the gods are present and active. And we have plenty of examples of active and present gods that are not all powerful. They are held in check by a overgod or by a delicate balance of power between them and another faction of gods. I mean, you can go as far as you want with this, but I think it's great. I love the Malazan gods and I love the Pillars of Eternity gods. They are active and involved in scheming. I love a scheming pantheon, but I don't think you have to worry too much about explaining why they don't do more than they do.
Yeah. Don't think about this also from a world building perspective, flip it around. Think about it from players. Give one player, if you have 5 players, 5 gods. Maybe your pantheon is 6 gods, right? Keep it as small as possible while giving your players like that direct connection. If you can let this go, have your players help you world build the pantheon of 6 ascendants or whatever have you. That way the player's like, hey, yeah, maybe I don't know all the rules of gods, but I do know I have a special net connection to 2 of them because in session, -1, I helped come up with some of the ideas for this god.
You can also split the difference here, and if you have gods that you like, you can leave room in their portfolio and say, hey, here's the list of gods. You want a patron of shadows, or you want one of these guys to be a god of craftsmen. Like that would fit in here, or we can make that part of this person's overall suite of interests. There's lots of ways to let your players engage with this, which would help with the lore dumping and world building part of it that you're worried about.
Yeah, and then you have on your like limits to gods, you could go with Rob's like balance of power. You can go the overgod. You could go that sure, a god can go to the material plane. It leaves them vulnerable. Like why would they ever do that? There's a 1% chance they could get killed. They live forever. It's not worth it.
Yeah. It could also just be far more entertaining for the gods to have mortals fight their battles for them. Like it could be very just simply more fun to watch you do it.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Make them, adding that little bit of boredom and weirdness goes a long way.
This is what I always took from, intentionally or not, from like the Greek myths. The gods were always, pumping up their champions in the Iliad for mostly inscrutable reasons. I think, just because they thought it was more entertaining that way. It was, they wanted to see their guy kick ass, much like we want to see our guys kick ass.
Right.
Are we not the gods of our sports teams and various franchises? Or are we not imbuing them with our cash money and
some of you are saying go Ajax, others are saying go Achilles. I'm saying go for balanced world building and rules for divine intervention.
But yeah, I think that sounds great, Steve. I think that's really cool. I think those of the 2 sort of general ideas you could have picked from, I think both Pillars and Malazan have a good and interesting set of gods and a way that they operate within the world. And I think using that as an inspiration and a starting point is a great way to go.
How many gods does Pillars of Eternity have? I've never played these games.
God,
is it like
off the top? It's like
10?
7 or 8. It's
perfect.
It's a modest number, and they're all like very distinct. It might even be less than that. It might be 6, but it's they're all pretty easy to remember and all have their own like thing. It's much less than the Forgotten Realms pantheon, the Faerunian pantheon, which is bloated in the extreme. Even Eberron has, frankly, too many gods for my liking.
Imagine you had a child and you were trying to teach them something about Greek mythology and they never heard of it before. How many gods do you think you could explain to them in one dinner conversation? It's probably less than 7 or 8. Consider that for your players. Keep the numbers low. If it's good enough, if 7 or 8 are good enough for PoE, according to Rob, haven't checked the wiki or Wikia to confirm his answer, then it'll be good enough for your campaign and players. Great question, Steve.
Okay, they're 12. Sorry, my bad.
No, but Rob's right. It would have been better if there were 7 or 8.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve, for writing in. Here is one from Troy. Troy writes, it tells us, thank you for, we responded to a question about a Spelljammer campaign that Troy is running. He has some cool ideas, World Turtle and Yuan Ti, and has a topic suggestion for us. Could you guys possibly do a deep dive into theater of the mind versus the use of battle maps and the like? I'm curious to know your experience with these different methods, opinions on the pros and cons of each, and tips on using them most effectively. As always, Troy. Thank you, Troy. Good question.
It's a we can't do a deep dive right now because it's a letters episode, but we can absolutely give you I can give you my quick pros and cons. I only want to use battle mats or like miniatures if we got to keep track of where everyone is. However, that's often the case. So my approach is to never use that unless it's necessary. With that in mind, that's just because of the pro of Theater of the Mind is faster for me.
I feel the same way. The pro of Theater of the Mind is that it's faster. The game runs better. I think most of the people I play with enjoy it more than when I have like a battle map for them. I lately have been using more maps, but not for battles so much.
Right, like here's a map of the ship.
Of the ship, or
and then like, oh, I go over here. Perfect.
And then sometimes it'll be like Matt said, keeping track of like, these two people are in this room, these two people are in this room. Now, that being said, if somebody handed me a beautifully drawn battle map and some miniatures and was like, use this for the session that you have planned, I would be like, awesome. That's great. I would love to do that. And on like a VTT, you can almost do that. That comes with like some other fiddly bits that I don't enjoy, but I find that I can run just like a substantially better session 9 times, not even that, 99 times out of 100 if I'm planning to do Theater of the Mind rather than a battle map. But I do see the appeal and the function, and there are lots of people who are good at putting these together ahead of time on the fly, or who get a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I definitely see the value in them. Me personally, it takes too much time and generally does not improve my session to have a battle map and miniatures.
I guess the question is, when the deepest dive is like, when should you use each one? And like, if players are frequently being like, I'm confused, where should I go? Where can I go? You can either get better at your really fast descriptions of the situation, or you can be like, hey, it sounds like what you would like is some sort of war games like tracker of everyone's space. And if that's the case, that's good. My other like pro of Theater of the Mind is you can create a battle map in about 30 seconds if you need one. If you have big sheets of paper or even regular size sheets of paper, boom, marker, pin out, draw it. Players are X's, monsters are O's, or, you might have some tokens or chits laying nearby. Like if I ever need like the comfort of, just being like, hey, we're doing this Theater of Mind until it gets too complicated, is I'm like, I can create a battle map in like 10 seconds. Now, I completely agree with Rob. It is really cool when someone has like painted miniatures and all that fun stuff. Can't knock it. Hate it when it has to become the con of it for me is it's like a chore if you have to have it for every encounter or every fight.
You can build it very quickly, and that's honestly just fine. All the other stuff is like bells and whistles, and it helps, but it's not in any way necessary. A simple grid is awesome, especially if your concern is making sure everyone knows where they are. We could maybe at some point do a deeper dive on this, but that is the high level overview, in my opinion.
Thanks for this email. This is a great question. It's definitely for me, if I'm going in for new groups or a new system, I don't know how like complicated action encounters are. Start somewhere in the middle, as in have that big sheet of butcher paper and markers ready, and then, keep pulling it out. And if you're like, well, this game is all about fighting. Like if I was playing a Draw Steel or a Lancer games I really love, I would absolutely use a battle mat every time, right?
Yeah. Sorry, this goes without saying that if it's Draw Steel, if it's Lancer, I wouldn't want to play without a battle map. Like I think that's not only does the game not entirely work without it, but it's also part of the fun and the appeal. For most other games, that's not the case, but there are tactical TTRPGs that are more fun and designed to be played with a battle map, and in that case, there's obviously a different answer to this question.
Thank you again for the letter. Great question and the kind words.
Thank you, Troy.
All right. Here's our next letter from Arin, who writes, Dear Dungeon Dudes, how's this for a 5th edition narrative-centric mod with minimal crunch, and you can still chat Natty Twunzo and roll an oh-so-appealing icosahedron. Still roll a d20, succeed or fail as usual. The player can choose to roll a second d20 if it's at least 5 above or below the DC, consequence, or advantage. Advantage as in something good, not rolling with advantage. Narrative-centric because the player narrates the consequence or advantage, ideally, or the DM could do it. No meta currency, quick play, and the added advantage of being impossible to play test because my group disintegrated. Well, it's hibernating. Cheers, Arin.
I like this. I think this is a good idea. We have discussed at length now dice systems and different resolution mechanics, and if I have a choice, prefer not to use D20s at all. But if I had to, and if I were trying to make it simple for a group that really likes rolling that D20 and doesn't want to even like look at something else, then this would be a good way of mitigating my very least favorite part of D20 systems, which is nothing happens. This is a good way to stop or ameliorate that problem.
You can even, make it simpler and like instead of a second D20 that's related to the DC, just flip a coin or roll a D6, and on 4, 5, 6 there is a beneficial advantage, and on the 1, 2, 3 there is a negative consequence.
Roll that D20, and 11 to 20 is advantage. 1 through 10 is disadvantage. Just to flip a coin, make it even simpler. Yeah.
I like the idea of the player choosing if they want it to happen. That's
I like
fun.
this too. I think this is adds a little bit of push your luck, a little bit of player agency, but doesn't require a whole lot. I think this is a nice little bit of dice tech. And a good idea.
Yeah. No, that's fun. There are a lot of easy ways to sort of add this in. You can even another one that I've seen floating around either in my notes or somewhere online is to just make the advantage mechanic a devil's bargain stolen from Blades in the Dark. At any time, players can roll that second dice for an advantage, but there will be a consequence. Like an unrelated to this check, like something else, I can up the tension.
There are ways to add simple mechanics to a standard D&D game to make it a little bit more interesting. I like this. Be a good optional rule.
Thanks for the optional rule, Aaron.
This next one comes from Jonas. Jonas writes, as classics nerds, exactly how insulted do you feel by the trailer for Nolan's Odyssey? For me, this is only a minor part of my nerd identity, but I'm still repulsed by the non-bronze equipment, the Viking-looking ships, and the muddy color grading. Jonas.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'll be honest right now, the color grading is the thing that looks the worst.
I don't want to disappoint you, Jonas, but I actually personally don't care a whole lot about seeing authentic Bronze Age costumes in an adaptation of the Iliad or the Odyssey, because
you don't want big pointy hats on everyone.
I mean, they're fun, and I hope someday that there is a movie that has authentic, Attic Greek Mycenaean warrior outfits, but it's a mythological story. I actually kind of like that Nolan is going like gonzo with it. I agree with Matt. The color grading is a problem. I want it to be brighter. I want it to be weirder, but I don't actually care that Agamemnon has a Bane helmet. I'll tell you what does bother me. What did sort of like get my like classics nerd, give me a nerd wedgie is Telemachus is wearing pants. The Greeks hated pants. The Greeks thought people who wore pants
for barbarians.
Were for barbarians. Like that's he's like you can put whatever the fuck you want on him, like make him look however you like, but not in pants. Nolan.
It's like
No-
seeing
no-
Adam
no-
Sandler in pants in a movie. It's just wrong.
no Greek worth their salt would be caught dead in trousers. Honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're bothered, but here's the thing. I've been disappointed so much in my life. I was thinking about this, Matt,
By
because
Christopher Nolan or by just life?
by movies, by
Okay.
mostly like movies, pop culture, right? Matt, we were 13 years old when the Phantom Menace came out, right? Like my life
Right,
has been
yeah.
a long chain of disappointments. I have now been waiting on Winds of Winter for 15 years. Like I'm saying that like I keep my expectations kind of low. So like
Sure.
I enjoyed Tenet. I enjoyed Inception. I enjoyed Interstellar. I like Nolan's shtick. Yeah, he makes big dumb guy movies, and they're sometimes really stupid. But like, I think his Odyssey could be fun. So I'm holding off judgment until like it actually comes out. I'm not gonna freak out based on like what's in the trailer. You know, some of the decisions he's making are questionable, but if you thought that you were going to get anything even like vaguely resembling historical accuracy from Christopher Nolan, you set your expectations too high, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Wait, did Christopher Nolan do Dunkirk and Oppenheimer?
Was he Oppenheimer?
Yeah. I mean, those are historical films. However, he's clearly cares about those subjects a lot. So.
Actually, that's a good point. He was, I mean, I don't know how like technically historically accurate Oppenheimer was, but also yeah, he clearly that was closer. Clearly the historical accuracy was more important to him in Oppenheimer than, you know, accuracy in any way was important to him in any of his other films.
I would, it's like when you go see like a Shakespeare play and I don't know, all the actors are dressed up in Victorian age military costumes and stuff. I love that stuff. I would love to see an Odyssey. Yeah. Set in
I honestly
another
think
time
that if
period.
you put them in like science fiction outfits, I think that would be a pretty fun Odyssey. Like you could literally give them laser swords, and that would be like kind of a cool bit.
Cool.
But like I'm with
they're
you,
like
Matt.
fighting Charybdis as a space monster.
Yeah,
or
that would be
wormhole
so cool.
Or whichever one that one was. That would be great. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. My favorite Hamlet adaptation is the Branagh one, where it's like Tsarist Russia, and he's got like you know, like all the uniform with all the medals on it. So
I would love to see an Odyssey by the guy who did, was it Eddings? The guy who did The Northman.
Yeah.
Because that's a Hamlet adaptation, right?
That is.
Just like go full Viking.
That would be cool.
I'm sort
Robert
of with
Eggers.
Rob, like
that's right. Yeah.
Eggers. I was gonna say David Eggers.
Different Eggers.
Hamlet.
No relation.
Or a heartbreaking work of
staggering genius.
Hey, it's me, Hamlet again. No, I feel like I'm with Robert. Like Nolan movies, they're like a good flip of the coin, and I'm gonna flip that coin. I'm gonna go pop that corn, flip that coin.
There hasn't been a big budget Odyssey adaptation since like the golden age of Hollywood. So like, unless you count Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which is great, but that's not the same thing.
Oh, see, there you go. My question's already been answered. I've already seen the best portrayal of the Odyssey, and
that's the thing, right? Like, you know, this is just gravy. Anyway, it's a good and valid question. And if you are bothered by what Nolan is doing, I'm not going to tell you not to be. I can't maintain that level of like being upset about historical accuracy because nobody cares but me. So I have to pick my battles, you know. I have to reserve my energy for being mad about areas of my like personal expertise, you know.
Hot damn, it's the Soggy Bottom Boys. All right, thanks
anyway,
for the letter, Jonas.
Good question, Jonas. If it's bad and you're mad, just go watch Oh Brother Where Art Thou again. Yeah.
Here's our next letter. Thanks again. Here's our next letter from Nick. I always love when you two do some crazy blending of fantasy tropes. Could you do a big trope mashup for your games or an upcoming episode sometime? I always love to hear about your games, your world building ideas. The DM actual prep episodes are some of my absolute favorites. Happy holidays. Excellent year, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. We did a big tropey mashup one recently, but it was also a lot of fun. So maybe we could do something like that again.
Well,
This
is a great idea because we did big, broad genres, right?
Ooh, yeah.
But if we could
right.
focus on one genre and do tropes within that genre, I think that's what Nick's saying.
That's a good idea. Oh, no. That's a great idea. We should drill down on like a genre and mash up some like, big picture ideas, some tropes. Great suggestion, Nick. Assuming that's what you suggested. If not, just roll with it. That would be cool.
Listeners, send us your favorite or least favorite tropes. Like a least favorite trope that if only it was mashed up in a new way, it could be redeemed.
That's a really good idea. Send us your tropes, loved, but even better, hated. We'll do enemies to lovers, found family, bury your gays. It'll be great. We'll
Rob's in like problematic TV tropes land. I'm thinking about,
no, I'm just
active gods, inactive gods, magic, consumes your blood or something.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Send us your favorite, themes, tropes, ideas. We'll mash them up. This will be fun. This will be a good idea. We'll do fantasy first.
Okay. Thanks for the suggestion and the kind words, Nick.
All right, this next one comes from Josh, who wrote us a monster of an email. And Josh, I wanted to let you know that I did read it, and I appreciate it.
Joy to read.
It was, I really, briefly, listeners, I really appreciate it when you all engage intellectually or seriously or emotionally with what we say and do on this podcast. If what we're saying makes you think or makes you interested and you have stuff to say to us, I love reading that. It makes me very happy. I do this podcast because I like to think and talk about these things. So it makes me very happy when you relate to something that we talk about here. So Josh, great email. Thank you very much. I want to drill down on one part, which I thought was particularly insightful. Josh was responding to our episode about auteurs, and he says, I'd add to your definition of auteur that the creator is willing to alienate the audience. The Bakers did this with Apocalypse World. The writing is evocative and the system is the epitome of elegant design and emergent narrative, but it's not accessible. It's a game for people who know what they're doing. It will teach you how to GM, but only if you've got the experience to see the thousands of words of explanation crammed into a principle like play to find out. It's like too many zoos. It speaks to your soul or it's noise. I thought this was really smart, Matt. That was really insightful.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. And I think lots of people commented or sent us messages about like auteurs that we didn't include. That's also great because obviously we're not the deciders of who's in the list or what, right?
Right.
But yeah, the idea of someone willing to make a game that is not only not for everyone, but is for like yourself. It's for your vision of what a game or what your art and storytelling and play can be.
And this is true, I think, of everybody that we covered. Sometimes you're an auteur and the thing that you make is popular and people like it. And sometimes you're an auteur and the thing that you make makes people confused and pissed off and frustrated. And both are great, in my opinion. Like, I think the cool thing about why people choose this path about being an auteur is that you can experiment with things that might not be popular. This is the Bakers is a great example. You're right about Apocalypse World, Josh. It is, I think it's very, very good, but it isn't easy to pick up, especially when it was written. I think it was very it's got that very edgy style of how the rules are written, which is definitely a little less common in the early aughts. Yeah.
Josh goes on to say auteurs take real risks. Imagine a counterfactual of Apocalypse World, same system, same setting, minus the sex moves, and written so that a 15-year-old could pick it up. It could have been a mass market blockbuster and everyone would be playing mixed success systems. To a lesser extent, the same is true of Blades in the Dark. Harper's Duskfall is an amazing setting, but a standard grimdark low fantasy setting would allow more GMs to get it to the table.
I think this is true. I think there's something to this. I think in both cases, there's substantially better games. And I think the hobby is better off because they're not, because they've both been so influential and allowed a lot of people to go on to make and play and run more interesting games. But I don't know that I can disagree necessarily that if they were written to be more accessible, that they wouldn't have been big blockbuster successes.
One nice thing about TTRPG writing is that there are almost no big blockbuster successes.
Yeah,
Even games
right.
that are incredibly successful are not exactly blockbusters, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to make you a multi-millionaire or even a millionaire. If you're lucky, they might allow you to make a living being a game designer. And so you might as well write
That's right.
something
Might as
that's
well do what
good.
you want, right? Yeah. This is the cool thing, I guess. Cool thing, bad thing, good thing, both about this hobby, which is, yeah, it's I think it encourages this type of thing. John Harper did just announce a new game called
Oh, he did.
Ride or Die, which
Nice.
has big Fast and the Furious vibes. I feel
Awesome.
like it looks sick. I'm really excited about it, but that could be the mass market appeal one. That could be the one that he goes big with. I can't wait to see like what's in it.
That's awesome. Speaking of John Harper, there's also Aegon, right? For your
right.
Odyssey game. That if you want to run Aegon with historically accurate Bronze Age
right.
armor, you could. If you wanted it with Squidward faceplate Agamemnon, you could also do that as well.
Do that. Also, Blade 68 is supposed to come out soon. That's the sort of like advancing the setting, cars and guns and things. I forget exactly what it's all very vibesy. Anyway, great points, great insights.
Yeah.
Josh,
it's like one auteur that we didn't make the cut for our first episode. Jason Morningstar, like Fiasco, like very a little more mass market if you can consider the Coen brothers mass market. And I was definitely able to like convince people to play that with me. The Shab al-Hari Roach, another of his games, was not able to convince anyone to play. I still haven't played that.
Jason Morningstar is a great example because he's got things like Fiasco, which I think are very accessible, and then a bunch of weird stuff, which is great, but harder to get people to play.
Thanks for the mini deep thoughts, Josh. Thank you for thinking and writing. We appreciate it.
Greatly appreciate it.
Here's our next one from Cesar. Hi, Matt and Rob, longtime listener, patron, and fellow academic here. I recently completed my special fields prelims qualifying exams for my PhD in literature program. And I wanted to thank you both.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Well done.
And now the hard part starts. No. You'll do great. The podcast has been a great break from my reading list over the last several months. It's very likely that my dissertation will involve some element of game studies, which is very exciting. I also run monthly open table events for my cohort, inspired by your own advice on open tables. So more thanks. Now that I have the brain power to dedicate to other things, I want to pass along 2 games that I think you'd both enjoy for their theming and writing. The first is Tomorrow City, a diesel punk game with BioShock vibes by Nathan Russell. And then he also adds, I think the Action Tales system that powers his more recent games is a wonderful successor to that system. Hopefully it scratches that pulp adventure itch for y'all. And then the second recommendation is a one-shot game. Dueling Fops of Vindemere by Greg Stoltz. This is Greg Stoltz of the One Roll Engine fame. You play as fops engaging in humorous antics over the course of a social season, culminating in a big tournament. It is a genuinely hilarious game, and the quasi-historical setting feels perfect for y'all. But thank you for helping a weary grad student get through his program. Keep rolling them dice, Cesar.
Cesar, thank you for listening. I'm glad it was helpful, and thank you so much for both of these recommendations. Tomorrow City looks awesome. We love diesel punk, as you know. If you listen to our episode on Crimson Skies or many of our other episodes, we love that vibe. This looks really cool. I also love.
I
everything
already
about
bought Dueling
Fops of
Vindemir.
Vidimir. I am strongly considering running this very, very soon. I love Dueling Fops of Vidimir. The pitch describes it as Bridgerton, only extremely violent, or extra horny Cobra Kai with swords, which are both really, really good. This is a really good pitch. This is awesome. So very excited about both of these games. Thank you for letting us know about them.
Yes. It's these are great recommendations, both for us and I think, honestly, anyone.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to run Dueling Fops of Vindemir as soon as I find somebody to run it for. This looks amazing.
Who wouldn't love playing a Dueling Fop?
Sorry, I don't know why I said that. Almost everybody I run games for would love this, so I just got to find a time and a place. Great suggestions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. This one is from Alex. Alex writes, "Hello, DMs of None. My name is Alex. I'm a Portland native, GM for 20 years, and a recent patron of yours." Alex, I don't know how we haven't crossed paths, but maybe we'll run into each other. I discovered your podcast earlier this year, and it's exactly the sort of thing I've been looking for years. Big fan. He tells us a bit about his games, then he has a question. My too long didn't read question is, when do you call a game if you don't feel like it's working? And what strategies do you have to avoid that, especially for games that might be difficult to consistently devote time to? Also, what sort of games and approach do you think work best for a short time slot, like a weeknight game? Thanks for your time and keep rolling them dice.
Thanks, Alex.
Very good question.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like a joke. The best time to call a campaign was like one session before you started thinking about calling the game.
The next best time is now.
Yeah, the next best time is now. Sorry.
You forgot the second part of the joke.
I did. Which is why maybe I'm not very good at answering when to call a campaign.
It's a very good question, and like, sorry to phrase it this way, it's a little bit like a relationship. You just know. You know when it's over, you know when it's done, and you have to sort of like trust your feelings and your instincts about this. You mentioned in your email that you had been getting stressed with your game, and like, that's a pretty good sign. I personally have like a pretty complex relationship to the stress that I feel about running my games. It's a lot better than it used to be, but I have discovered that I don't have to be stressed if I make better decisions about the games I run, when I run them, who I run them with, how I prep for them, right? Like I just, for a long time, I assumed that I was just going to feel a lot of stress about running my games. And then I matured a little bit and I was like, oh, actually, I don't have to be stressed. I will always be maybe a little stressed sometimes, but I think it's a good time to reflect if you realize that your game is causing you stress. It's probably normal to have some like stress or anxiety about, well, have I done enough? Am I prepared enough? Is this session going to go well?
Right.
But it should be fun, and you should be looking forward to it, and you should feel good afterwards, especially. And if those things are not true, that is a good time to step back and be like, maybe it's time to like give this campaign a break.
Yeah. No. Inordinate amount of stress on your part. You feel like you or your players are not having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex says another thing in the email, which is we weren't progressing at all. And if you're like, hey, this game is not going forward, I think that's another sign. Yeah. It's time to call the game. And players also being like, hey, that other game we were playing before, or this game was fun in the past, it's not anymore. Those are all perfect signs to call it. It could be any one of those things.
Yeah. I would say part of like my strategy for dealing with this is to run different games, as in like different types of games. Like I have more than one campaign going, and sometimes one will be on hiatus. But also, if I am feeling stressed, I'll be like, hey, can we play something else for a couple of sessions? Or can somebody else run something for a couple of sessions? Like a great way to not get stressed out and to generally extend the life of your gaming group is to, when you start to feel that stress, engineer a break. Just, don't push it. Like, even if like you're having a good time, even if your campaign is progressing, feel free to say like, "Hey, I need a week off, or I need a couple weeks off. How about we do something else, or how about somebody else run something, or how about we play a board game?" But listen, you'll probably be playing games for a long time. Not every week is make or break. So feel free to use that to your advantage. And if you're starting to feel that stress, uh, take a break, step back. That helps, I think, to avoid the time to call it completely issue. But also, don't be afraid of that.
And then like on the, how do you avoid it? Or like, I think it is not a bad thing when a game runs its course, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it happens.
We all enjoyed watching season 1 and 2 of that TV show, and then sure, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, they weren't as good, but that doesn't take away for how good those first couple of seasons were, and it's okay to just stop watching that TV show. Similarly, you can take a couple of varying strategies to sort of call your game. You can do it in and these are all from personal experience, things I've done. You'd be like, hey, I think this campaign has run its course, doesn't really matter why, or you can explain why. Let's do one more session, and then you do that and the game ends. That's maybe the best way. You can also just be like, hey, let's just I got excited about this other thing. You can all tell I'm clearly excited about it, therefore you're excited about it too. Let's just start playing that, and we can always go back to that other one, and then maybe you never do.
I like Matt. I have both. I have some where I was like,
we're
we're gonna play this many sessions, and then that's the end of the story. And some were like, I guess technically, the campaign is just on hold, and it could start up again at any time. It's not going to, but it theoretically it's just on hold. But like both are fine. And if anybody came back to me and asked like, "Hey, can we pick up playing this thing again?" I might say yes. It's just, I think everybody like me was happy to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Great
question.
Second question. Sorry.
Oh,
the
yeah.
second part
Second
of Alex's question
yeah.
is, what sort of games and approach do you think work best for a short time slot like a weeknight game? This is a good question. All of my games are weeknight games. I very rarely have time on the weekends like I used to for like long games, unless I'm attending a con or specifically have carved out time for it. So most of my games are aimed at like a tight 3-hour time slot on the weekday. And I'll tell you, this is about, in my opinion, two things more than anything else. One is prep, and two is the system that you play in. And you have heard me talk a lot about Mothership and Daggerheart, and the reason why I'm enjoying those so much is because I can tell a full story and have a full session, even if people show up and gab for 30 minutes with both of those games. I can still fit everything in 2.5 hours. I can't do that with 5e or a lot of D&D style games, because if there's even one combat, that's going to take at least half of the time.
Yeah, for me, it is also things that when action set pieces take more than half an hour, then they are no longer good weeknight games for me. Yep. Doesn't stop me from running them. It just means that it's way more difficult because it's hard to find that good place to start and stop as a DM, because that 3.5 hour time slot's really tight.
Yeah. I will say that this relates to your first question, because this helps with my stress and I don't feel as often like this isn't working, we have to call the game, because I'm able to get more done and progress my games, even if people are a little bit distractible or not, completely on task. And a lot of this is about just one, being prepared, but especially about playing something where things happen more quickly,
Yeah. And then one approach that I think is helpful for everyone, regardless if you're doing a weeknight game or not, if you just want to let the players progress efficiently, is at that end of the session, be like, and then your plan is X. All right. That means when we pick back up, we'll probably be at point Y. The things that are going to happen between X and Y are not that interesting. I'll summarize them here. You don't have any decisions to make. It sounds like the next, big decision point is here. So that's where we'll start. That'll either be me telling my players that or just doing that in my notes and telling them when they show up.
Yep. Thanks for the letter.
Thanks, Alex.
And yeah, don't feel bad about this. This happens all the time. And I think you made the right decision. So hope this was helpful.
Next letter is from Mickey. Matt and Rob loved the latest letters episode. Made me laugh out loud on several occasions. Just wanted to write quickly and let you know that your show has helped grow our hobby. I'm from a small town in Eastern Virginia, and growing up, I was the definition of lonely fun. It wasn't until I started listening to your pod that I gained the confidence and skill to run a game. Now I host a game at my local library for children ages 10 to 15. There is terrific engagement from the kids. They have so much fun and are absolutely adorable. You two are directly responsible for this, so I just wanted to send some words of appreciation and encouragement for all y'all do. Take care, Mickey.
Thank you so much, Mickey. I appreciate it. I do want to say I don't run. Well, I don't run as many games for kids as I have in the past, but I do run games for kids. And the thing is that I could run a lot more. There's an immense appetite among the youth today for the dungeons and the dragonings and TTRPGs in general. There is no stigma anymore, and the kids have seen it on Stranger Things. They know that it's cool. They want to play. If you are struggling to find a group and you don't mind hanging out with some little rugrats, then you can almost definitely find a group anywhere, especially if you are willing to be, well, I guess this is specifically for adults. Probably if you're being willing to be the GM or the DM, you can definitely get a group together and they will love everything that you are doing because they are
Give back at your local library.
Yes, library.
The children are the future.
That's right.
No, I mean, I ran a game for children over the holidays because that's the time when a lot of children are around. And they're around. Like, wait, what about this? I'm like, I will absolutely do this for you. 3 children, let's get together and apparently, kid. Man, there is nothing more satisfying than kids having fun, especially for the ones that are 12 up, where you can sort of see the twinkle in their mind's eye of like, I could do this for my friends. I can express myself creatively,
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a really fun age because one of them will definitely, like, you can see the gears turning. They're like, I want to do this. I have ideas. I'm gonna tell my own story, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah. Thank you for the incredibly kind words, Mickey. And thank you for giving back and running games at your local library.
Yeah. Thank you, Mickey. This next one comes from Kyle. Kyle writes, "Hi, Matt and Rob. I just wanted to say thank you for all the great content. I decided to run a spooky Daggerheart one-shot for Halloween and found your podcast while searching for reviews, playtest recommendations. Lo and behold, you also helped me with my other DM needs. I have now listened to over a dozen hours of content. I wanted to say, listening to you.
Well, we only have, let's say, it's 60 dozen more hours of content for you. So, so keep listening.
If you're just sticking to the Daggerheart content, then you're probably close to the end of it, but maybe a few more hours. Yeah. I wanted to say, listening to you prepare the Sandbox Adventure was fantastic. I even put a Galapa caravan as a node in my one shot. Yes, I'm sorry. I love it. I love Galapas. I love turtle people. Caravans are great. It honestly makes me want to do a prep with a fellow DM just to have the fun of making crazy adventures. Thanks again for your hard work. I look forward to many hours of DM honing. Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. This is very nice. This is a great point. I very much enjoy having Matt as a collaborator. Some things work really well to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. And as you can probably tell from listening to our podcast, one of them is coming up with campaign ideas and campaign details. Like, specifically, this type of stuff is really helpful to have at least one other person just to sort of shoot the shit with.
No, I used to have, like a lunch buddy to do this with, and now I have my best buddy Rob
That's right.
to do this with. It's super fun if you can find someone at work who won't mind you prattling on about your
Yeah.
your
Find
game
someone
prep.
who wants to prattle back. That's what it's all about.
We also had a couple of comments requesting more actual prep and being like, do actual prep for other systems, and we hear you, listeners and patrons.
Heard and understood.
Heard chef. Yeah.
Heard
We
chef,
love
that's
doing
right.
those episodes. And while we may not always have time to write them up as we wanted to, we definitely love doing it and should do it. Maybe we should do like a superhero one or something,
Ooh,
or
that's a good idea.
maybe a mothership one. We've both been playing a lot of motherships.
We should pick something a little different. We should do a superhero or a science fiction or something. Both of those would be fun. But yes, heard, understood, agreed. Don't worry, it's coming.
Thanks for the kind words, Kyle. Here are our last letters. This one's from Chris, and we had another similar one from James. Hey guys, just throwing an idea your way. Given the relative similarity of mechanics of so many of the recent D&D heartbreakers you looked into, I'd be interested to hear your take on Grimwild, which is another fantasy TTRPG, but with some fairly novel dice mechanics that set it apart from the pack that you evaluate. It also has the added bonus of being created by a designer who has disappeared the second he was supposed to ship his game books. So there's a little intrigue and opportunity to discuss the occasionally messed up dynamics of crowdfunded games. Just an idea for you all. Regardless, please keep up the good work. James also wrote us with a similar recap of this news story. I've played I haven't played. I've read the Grimwald free RP edition. It is like if Dungeon World is powered by the apocalypse for D&D, Grimwald is Forged in the Dark for D&D, with lots of its own mechanics and some slick design. And yeah, the PDF has of the like full non-free edition, though you really only need the free edition, is out and available for purchase on DriveThruRPG. The like expansions for that and print seems like they are not going to get made because as of 5 hours before the recording of this podcast, the crowdfunding for both have been shut down by the crowdfunding site. We don't know what happened with the designer. It seems like either something very bad happened to them or they just got overwhelmed and stopped responding to everyone's emails. Either way, that sucks.
It does not seem like a cash out because they didn't. I think they're not going to get the money or as much money. Like if the purpose of this was to like take people's money and disappear, this was a bad version of this. This is not a Satine Phoenix situation. It seems like the person either became like overwhelmed or stressed or is in trouble. So like Matt, I read it. It looks really cool. I'm really sad that we're not going to get a full version, and I am just sort of uncomfortable speculating and concerned and hope that everything is fine, I guess.
Yeah. I think the silver lining is that the version that is created is basically a full version of the core rules.
Yeah, you can play
and the designer released all of the rules on the Creative Commons BY license. So there's no reason why you can't play this game. You just can't get a hardcover book.
Yeah. It is cool. It's really good. To me, it's a lot like what Dungeon World tried to do, but I prefer it to Dungeon World. Matt's comparison of it being, like the Forged in the Dark version is apt, and that's my preferred system. So, but yeah, this is a weird saga. I hope we get a resolution that's not too bad eventually. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it just sucks. You hate to see it. Hope the designer is okay. Or but yeah, very, very strange. The book is interesting and good. We put those messages there at the end after a bunch of positivity. So
we just wanted to acknowledge
2026.
that you reached out. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for writing in. Please write us more letters. I'm aware that some of these are many months old. We try. A lot has been going on. A lot of things. With a weekly podcast, you'd think that we would have more time, but there's a lot to talk about. There's an awful lot of things to discuss, people to interview, games to review, advice to give. So, but we really enjoy your letters. So please keep writing in. You can find us at dmofnone@gmail.com. We are on Blue Sky, link in the show notes. You can also just go on our Discord and yap at us there. Sometimes we're in the Discord and we respond. So that's a good way to get in touch with us. You can also go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Dungeon Master of None. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for listening. As always, keep rolling them dice.